article, I was on page 10, and not last time I was on page 6, and I said to the guy, maybe the next article, maybe I'll do something crazy enough to make the front page.
So, we will make a conversation now. So, I have
Okay.
no questions, I have just my titles.
It's okay.
Yeah, so it's like X-Prom. And as I know you, I could ask you everything. Because
Yes,
I
you
know
can.
all your story.
Uh-huh.
And the first question is like, what are you doing now?
What am I doing now?
Yeah, because it's a lot of stages before, but now, what are you doing? I saw you in Voronezh and everything.
Yeah.
What is the story about Voronezh? What are you doing?
Well, I went there to Voronezh for my friend owns a medical clinic down there, and I injured my back, so I went down there the first time to get an MRI, and I really love the town. So now I keep coming back, and I met a bunch of people that do charity work down there. So I've been helping at various charities, and I organized my own charity event a few weeks ago, where I made steak for people, and it's really cool. So and I'm just, I work, I do some contracting, some IT contracting, and then when I have time, I travel around Russia. I've been to maybe 40 cities.
I remember your project about you wanted to go to Vladivostok by car or back.
Yes.
Is it successful?
I haven't gone yet because I haven't had the funding for it. So maybe if one of your viewers will be like, oh yeah, we want to make a TV show about this, and they want to pay for the trip, then it would be great.
Yeah, I think after all these 2 weeks, they will pay for you.
Maybe.
Yeah. So what's happened in the news? What is a boom in the news for the last week about you? How it's happening, by the way?
Well, I got a phone call from somebody at the Times in London asking me what I knew about the Jeffrey Epstein case. And, I told him, well, I worked as a deputy during that whole thing, and his treatment was shocking to all of us. But what he didn't tell me is that MI6 knew that I had MI6 divulged the fact that they know that I have secret files on Jeffrey Epstein and everything that happened. So apparently they're very worried about it, and somebody from MI6 leaked it to the press, and this is why the press has been writing about me, because now, I mean, there's no sense in denying that I have these files because everybody knows I do.
You have these files?
Oh yeah, of course.
Where is these files? Where you keep these files?
Oh, on computers all around the world.
So you're like a Snowden, you have a lot of computers.
Well, for safety reasons, yeah. In my purpose for coming public and confirming about the files, look, they already know I have the files, and I just want to make sure that people know that if something does happen to me, like happened to Jeffrey Epstein, that the files will be released. And the other thing is, there's only one way the MI6 could have ever known about these files, and that's the FBI. The FBI raided my house in 2016, and this means that they got access to all the files, and this means that they knew about the contents of all the files. So basically, the FBI in the United States is covering up for a worldwide pedophilia ring.
So the FBI, they knew about these files, but they doesn't know what's inside, right?
The FBI knows what's inside. I don't know what's inside. Honestly, because these were given to me just to hold by the detective that worked the case. And it wasn't my place to go looking in it. It's like if you get a box from a bank and you go and you put your passport and your money in there. You're not telling the bank what you're putting inside. You're just holding the they're just holding it for you. It's the same thing. I'm like a digital safety deposit box. And I had people from all over the world giving me information, not just on Epstein, but for hundreds of different things, giving me information to hold. you know.
But why you decided to keep it like in a lot of places, this information?
Well,
and not look at what is it?
because,
What is the reason?
well, number one, it's not my business to look at the files. Number two, right, if I just kept the files myself, then it would be easy just to have me killed and break into my apartment and take the files. Whereas this, if something happens to me, there's one group of people with the encryption keys and another group of people with the files and another group of people that know how to make contact with the people, the encryption keys to the servers, to the data. So if something happens to me, it's you know, pretty certain that, you know, these files will be released.
But we will not think about bad things. But if we will just think about this whole situation, what could be the reasons if you will want to open these files for public? It's possible to make it or not?
No.
For you?
No.
Or you want to keep it forever and not open it forever?
No, look, I gave up everything when I came here in the name of, I guess, justice. You know, I lost my house, I lost my family, my cars, my kids in my country, and you know, this is the last thing I have. My life and my freedom is the last thing that I have to lose. So, you know, I'm going to make sure that these prevent me from losing my life or my freedom. I want to see my kids one day again.
How is the kids, by the way?
They're fine. Of course, I haven't seen them in 4 years. The FBI has been putting an enormous amount of pressure on my ex-wife. You know, I had planned to see them last summer. I don't know if you knew that or not, but they were going to come. And on the day of the flight, I get a message from my ex-wife saying that she wasn't getting on the plane, she wasn't bringing the kids. I got no explanation, and she hasn't spoken to me since. The FBI has tried getting me 2 times here in Russia, sent back to the U.S., and luckily the Russian government said sorry, but he has asylum and, you know, goodbye. And, you know, the FBI has also been putting pressure on some of my clients in the U.S. that that I've been doing some contract work for. One of my clients, they sent 10 FBI agents and federal marshals to try to intimidate them into giving information about me, about what I was doing, why I was working for them, and things like that. And luckily they just said, sorry, goodbye, speak to our attorneys. So, you know, the FBI is, they've been trying to get me sent back to the United States. They knew that I had this information smuggled to me here in Russia, which is why they told MI6 about it. And you know, the only reason they told MI6 about it is because they must have gone through the files and seen Prince Andrew inside of these files.
So they know it. They know this information.
Yeah, they know.
But you doesn't know it.
No.
So they just told it to you.
Well, no, the FBI. I mean, look, the only reason I know it is because MI6 has released the information that I have. That MI6 released, what do they call that? MI6 leaked to the press that I had these files. So MI6 knows it, and I'm sure that MI6 and the FBI know exactly what was in there.
So it could be possible the security service, they have these files, they keep these files and they look at these files inside.
What security service?
I mean like MI6 or some.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they have these files.
They do have those files, yeah. And they're covering it up.
What is the reason for them to tell about you in all this news?
You know, it's a good question. What I can think is there's probably one person in MI6 who doesn't like the fact that all of these law enforcement agencies around the world are covering up for Epstein and Prince Andrew. And he probably leaked the information so he can compel MI6 and the FBI to come clean, to tell about, to be honest, what they have.
So it's kind of connection between Epstein and the Prince Andrew in these files, is it?
I think so, yeah.
Like maybe communications or something like this.
Well, probably video, actually.
Video together.
No, probably video of Prince Andrew having sex with juveniles in his house.
In the house of Epstein.
Epstein, yeah.
So Prince Andrew visited the house of Epstein.
Yeah, and all the rooms are recorded. All the rooms in in Epstein's house had cameras in them that were recording.
But
So
if he came to his house, so they were friends or something like that.
yeah.
And what's about this case about Epstein when you was working in Miami before? What was the case?
Well, so
The first one, the old one case.
yeah, it was the same. This was the first time he was arrested for sex trafficking of children.
And he was take part in this investigation, right?
No. I was with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. The investigation was the town of Palm Beach, which is it's a small jurisdiction within my jurisdiction. It's like Columna is part of Musco region, right?
Yeah.
But I knew the detective that worked the case. I knew him. He was a good guy. He's dead now. Did you know that?
No.
The detective that worked the case died mysteriously last year when all the Epstein stuff started surfacing again.
About this first case, the detective
Yeah.
first case.
Yeah. Died at 50 years old.
What's happening to him?
Nobody knows.
He just disappeared.
No, he just died.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean nobody knows the reason.
Yeah, nobody knows.
So what was the case? About children and Epstein, the first one?
Well, Epstein was paying these kids, as young as, I think, 12, maybe even younger. Like, he was getting them from all over the world, from these poor families, and bringing them back to have sex with them. So.
That was one of these cases.
Sure, yeah.
And what was the situation about the plane? Like, Epstein had a flight from Miami to the island.
Well,
What was the story? Because I didn't know.
Oh, so he has a private jet, and he used to take these kids to his private island in the Caribbean, and he used to have sex with the kids there. It was just a compound, just for his sexual pleasure and for the sexual pleasure of his friends, including people like Bill Clinton, Prince Epstein, Prince Andrew. Yeah.
So, and in these files could be all this information?
Could be, sure.
And who gave it to you?
The detective that worked the case.
These files. And this detective is dead now.
And he's dead.
That's something strange in this situation, too.
That is strange, yeah.
What do you think, what will happen later? What will be around all this case about Epstein because he dead now? What will happen?
Don't know. Don't know. They're looking for a couple.
What is the reason now for them to find some clues in this situation?
Well, there's some people that still. What do you mean the reason? Like, why would they?
Yeah, I mean, why they want to continue this deal, this case, because Epstein is dead already.
Yeah, but the problem is, there's dozens of people out there that did the same thing as Epstein. Could be Prince Andrew, could be Bill Clinton, that had sex with these children, and that the FBI is covering up these crimes for. And the FBI doesn't want this information to come out because it absolutely makes them complicit in worldwide sex trafficking of children. But it will come out eventually, I think, one day.
And what's happening to this island now? Is it still?
I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah. And so we finish this main part of our interview. И перебивки мы можем снять сейчас. И можно даже пару со мной поснимать перебивок.